Okay, I will just start off right away. So thank you very much, Pierre, and all the other people, well, everyone attending, obviously, but also thank you so much for giving us the great opportunity to present our ambitious project to you. We are quite a new face in this whole group of experts or people who have been working in this field so long and tirelessly. We would like to present this approach, a new approach, as we see it at least, to support the conservation and also the restoration of several highly threatened wildlife species of the region we're talking about these days. So I am going to try my best to present a very short, so not really detailed overview, so you get really a sense of what we are aiming for of this new and additional approach we have in mind. And also we are very keen to hear your thoughts afterwards during the Q&A. To start with, there are many species experts here present, obviously, so I would like to say you see the logo, but let's see it as a representation of open-mindedness, potential, and not necessarily the species we will aim for. Just please keep that in mind. We are a team of ecologists, biologists, naturalists, working in the fields of nature conservation and species conservation and rewilding for a long time. So probably you don't know all of us at least, so that's a little bit of a super short introduction. Let's see if I can go to the next slide. Yes. So of course, what we heard these days and what we already knew, there are severe challenges for all kinds of species we've been talking about already. But we see a new opportunity maybe on the horizon. What we looked at is that half of the antelope-like species in the region we're talking about are threatened in their existence. And we came upon an opportunity which presented itself in the southern part of Spain. You can see the map on the left-hand side. There's a little tiny red dot near where the word Gibraltar arises, so really in the south. I'm not sure if you can, well, over here. This is a nature area with great conservation ambitions, and it's very linked to North Africa, especially because the owners are the International Bank of Libya, which is a big bank, as some of you might know. So this gives a new opportunity for the area. You can see on the right-hand side of the map. This is part also of the Intercontinental Biosphere Reserve of the Mediterranean, going from Andalucía and Spain, the upper side, into Morocco. And here in the blue, the dark blue, which is the Strait of Gibraltar, it's only 14 kilometers, just to keep in mind. It is very close. This part also, I'm sorry, I'm going back to the left, is part basically of the same biome in Spain, in Andalucía, basically similar to, very generally similar to Morocco, a large part of Morocco, and also the very northern part of Algeria and Tunisia. So the project area we have in mind is zooming in a little bit. On the left-hand side, you can see here the total area. It is a property privately owned, like I said. It is over 6,000 hectares and secured. So it has a fence. There are rangers working there day in, day out. And it has a very high profile. And I say that because this is one of the key points of this idea, basically. It is because of the location. Marbella is close by here. And that means that a lot of wealth is in this area. And that is very important because that is one of the interesting points of this location, not only the connection to North Africa on the natural point, but also on like the owning part of it, on the property part, but also for our objectives later on. I will mention them a little bit more in detail. So the project area in it, on the right-hand side, you can see it, but basically it is very much a southern side. So I am zooming in from here, this picture, up to here. So it's around 300 hectares, and it has potential to divide these parts, these two parts. You can see the northern part and the southern part. It already has infrastructure on the outside because it's very close to like highways, etc. But also on the inside, there's roads inside as well for the guards, etc. And it, like I said, it has a very close proximity to the native regions, at least to the Atlas Mountains, Morocco, and going more to Tunisia, Algeria. So the objectives of our approach, and at first I have to say I dropped here some images, which I can understand that everyone would like, but these are potential focus species for us because of their status, of the IUCN Red List status, for example. Again, these are not necessarily the focal species yet. So what we would like to do is develop a project for the conservation and also reintroduction of these species back into their native original habitats. With that, by the breeding success we hope to achieve, generate a reservoir for the future also, and also which is very much a part of this approach is to collaborate and search for reintroduction sites. Besides this, and there comes the location in again, we think it's very important to promote not only here where the project will take place, but also to the people having second houses, first houses, third houses in these areas, because those are people which have considerable wealth and networks in other countries as well, and which could play a potential great role in to start securing places in native countries for these animals. So what we would like to do from the conservation point, where already so much has been achieved and still has to be guarded until the future, that the zoos and the animal parks, of which we've seen presentations, that they still continue, of course, to safeguard these species in their collections. But we think we can be a complement to this by providing the animals with more spacious sites in the semi-wild. It's only a few hundred hectares, but still for lots of these individuals will be, well, quite a shock, let's say, quite a bigger environment than they're used to. And we see that as it could be a fundamental tool for reintroductions. On the right-hand side, you see some drone images from the site we talked about, so from the 300-hectare zone. And we have in mind to rewild groups of individuals so that can become more natural already before reintroduction back into native regions. And with natural behavior also, that also incorporates the social behavior in those groups. So essentially, another picture on the right from the site, and you can see the Mediterranean Sea. So this close it is at the sea. And at the day we visit this this April, we could even see the Moroccan seaside. So it's really close. What in the field essentially the work will be is prepare the project area. We have to do some clearance of vegetation, for example, look at the divisions, which depend on the focal species of choice. Then obviously we are going to follow expert guidelines. You all worked so hard in producing and best practices. What the core of the idea is to follow as much as we can from a practical point of view, obviously the biology and the ecology of the species, so that they can, like I said, go into a more naturally structure. Obviously, there will be an adaptation program because those animals we anticipate come from very capture conditions in zoos, etc. Then periodic health examinations will be part of the whole process, not only at the start. And we have to build a facility and use all the best practices to do so in the best way we can. And biological monitoring of all the individuals and later of the groups and also of the area will be taking place. And this all has to result, is the idea, to have stable social groups, not giant groups, but stable social groups adapted to each other prior to transport. So a stable group can transport even by road or taking the ferry, this close it is, this project area, to their native regions. So basically, last slide to wrap it up. It is a hard work in progress. It's very challenging, of course. It will become very complex. We do understand that. It is not that we just take this lightly, but yeah, due to the 7-8 minutes, I have to press on. The current phase is building the network, seek for collaborations and further funding, then decide on the initial focal species and then start construction. And then phase 2 is having the first arrivals in this project area. Phase 3 in a couple of years, we hope to reintroduce the first groups into their native areas, be it Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, or even further south, depending obviously on the species. So I hope this was, at least in a nutshell, the idea. And of course, we are very open for questions, follow-up, remarks, everything. So here's my email address. And also please put in the chat your questions or suggestions. Thank you very much.
Okay.